I think Eddie, they're now here.
Yeah, sure. All right. Queens. Queen of Matters is now here. Could I kindly have your names in the chat space in your speaking orders just to guide me while submitting the ballot? Queen of Hearts, kindly indicate your names in the chat space in your speaking orders just to guide me while submitting the ballot and awarding speaker squares. Then as they're doing that, we're going to be using the same speaking time, and I'll be timing you. After your time is done, I'll just unmute and buzzer your speech. It means by the time I unmute, it means you have used up your entire time. Then for cross-examination, just for us to have a very engaging round and to listen to ourselves and avoid network glitches, I'm going to be providing an allowance of around 30 seconds, but please allow your speaker to either respond or ask before you buzzer them and we have network issues. So that being said, if everything is well, and let me check. Queen of Matters, if they just could indicate their names in the chat space, I would welcome the Prime Minister to start today's debate. Yes, Queen of Matters, you're speaking. Yes.
We have submitted in our names.
Okay, I never saw them. Okay, just tell me first speaker's name. Just the first name is enough for me.
My name is Chagulani William.
Then the second speaker.
Surukuma Joel.
Then the third.
Ankunda
Catherine. Okay. Thank you for that. Let me just set my. All right. The first speaker, whenever you're ready, I'm ready.
Pardon me, Chair. I'm requesting to. How long am I speaking? Is it still 4 minutes?
Speaking time is 4 minutes for the substantive speeches. Then for cross-examination, it will be 1 minute.
Okay. Okay, it's fine. So I'm going to start in 3, 2, 1. So, Chair, the fundamental question that we have in today's debate is not whether rural communities actually need development. It's actually very clear they do need development. But the question for this debate is who should receive control over the scarce resources that we use to create the development in these communities. On our side of the house, we say that rural women should actually be given conditional money priority over the side that opposition fronts for giving money to communities, and they hope that the rural women will eventually benefit from the money that will be given to them, right? So one thing we have to accept in today's debate, we believe that poverty is something that cannot be solved simply by making more money available to a community while leaving like existing inequalities over who controls that money intact. You have to understand that in rural societies, development is often captured by people who already have like land, status, people who have ability to influence politics within the societies and eventually bargaining power, right? And you realize that women in most cases possess less of these things. So if you then want genuine rural development, you actually have to ensure that women are inclusive, and that means you have to give them direct control over these resources. And this is why we proudly propose this debate. We have to understand what is this debate about, right? This debate asks us when actors probably avail us with resources, where should they place their primary financial priority? One, in order to achieve women's empowerment and sustainable rural development, should they give it as a loan scheme to the community where everyone can access? And I'm clearly showing that women have inequality in accessing this. Two, or should they make it unconditional for women, right? Because when you make it directly unconditional financial transfers to women, you ensure that women can actually access it. And in this debate, we're not saying that community loans are bad. We believe that they're actually good, but it's a prioritized debate. That means you choose one over the other, right? That's one thing we have actually gotten clear. You also have to understand the nature of rural areas, right? First of all, rural areas, are economies that depend on things like agriculture. And agriculture depends on seasons, livestock. And that this means that most times income is highly irregular. So a farmer can have the money, and after harvest, you find that they get nothing later, right? That means when you have things like loans can be highly unlikely for them to actually get back returns on investment. That's one thing you have to understand. So sometimes someone can take a loan and they don't even give the guarantee of actually getting back the money from that. Secondly, you have to understand rural areas have weak infrastructure and weak access to market. So even if this person or this woman receives a loan, like opposition will come and tell us, she may lack the necessary means to transport products to the markets, or reliable electricity or storage access to buyers. And then you find that they actually will fail. So your loan is only useful when there's actually an environment. You need the capital can generate returns, and when the returns come back, they're able to now use like the profits and all that. Okay, that's one thing that actually opposition would lack. So the nature of rural women in this debate, rural women have often experienced like poverty indirectly from men, right? Because a woman can live in a household with land, livestock, income, but then is still unable to decide independently what to buy or whether to seek healthcare and all that, because the men usually control most of this, right? So on our side of the house, we believe that when you actually ahead and outside, we find that you have dirty. In that when women now have cash, you without like forcing them to take on like loans, and which is quite unlikely. You give them they like leverage to actually go ahead and access the market. Look at this situation where a woman gets money, and unlike most times what men do, men usually get the money and spend it recklessly, but women most times are developmental, right? That means the money they'll get, they'll put it into businesses that's going to thrive, into farming. Then they'll be able to feed their families, set up business for their families, send their children to school, because they are you psychology proves that women actually care more about their children and look out more for them than men actually do. Other arguments that we're going to run in today's debate, we have that cash would not give women the power. Giving loans would actually create women in a cycle of control where they don't get the ability to actually
Thank you,
make
Speaker. Your time is
the
up.
financial. Okay,
Thank
back
you,
to
Speaker. Your time is up. We shall now go into cross-examination. Kindly unmute. You first listen in, then later on, it's your time to respond. You can just unmute. I'll just give you guys an allowance of 30 seconds for that delays.
Thank you, dear judges. I would like to ask the pre-current speaker. My question only requests for a yes or no. You talked of giving what cash grants to women. Can cash grants alone create better infrastructure of functioning markets? Because you said in villages they have no good infrastructure and functioning markets. So in your act of giving them cash grants, will the cash grants alone create better infrastructure or functioning markets without any knowledge provided?
Okay, I think you are getting it quite well. When you give, why I told you that they create infrastructure and all that. What the problem this brings is, even though you give the women loans, they still don't have the capacity to go ahead and make back the money and pay the loan. But when you give them cash grants, with the existing challenges that are in status quo, you give them incentive to actually push and overcome these barriers and still get a lot more money, and they're able to benefit their families and themselves too.
Right. Thank you. Cross-examination is done. Let's now move on to the first opposition speaker.
Resolved. This House will prioritize giving direct and unconditioned financial cash grants to women over community community development loans in rural areas. First of all, I would like to first break down the motion into a layman's understanding for the farmers to understand it very well. First of all, prioritize. Prioritize it means giving greater importance or preference to something. For example, if the government has 1 million US dollar to support rural women, then it should give a higher priority to cash grants over loans, which we the nagators are opposing. Direct cash grants, this is the money given to women directly without conditions attached for their well-being development. At times, this is through the government or organizations. Unconditioned grants. This is also a key term in our motion. It means the recipient does not have to meet particular conditions such as repaying back or security system issues or even making financial statements. First of all, loans. It is an amount. It is the amount of money which the recipient receives and he has to pay it back. First of all, we had our dear nagators, they were talking about that women don't have the capacity to pay back their loans. What do they mean that women don't have the capacity to pay back their loans? And we have seen, according to the status quo, women have there are programs that have been introduced. The existence of programs like Emyoga Foundation, the PDM programs. These programs have been introduced and they are successful. We are seeing that women have been paying back this money, and this money has been being used by the government for other development programs, ladies and gentlemen. We are seeing, for us as the farmer, as the nagators, we are saying that the government should maintain the current status quo and empowering these programs such as the Emyoga Foundation, the PDM programs. And we are saying we are basing on this because the community development loans, they are sustainable. They are sustainable. Money accumulates and it is able to be used to help more people, which provides more support. Community development loans also promote productive investment and long-term use income generation than the unconditional grants. Loans create incentive for beneficiaries to think about how money will be generated. Accountability of the funds of the government, ladies and gentlemen. The community development loans also create benefits. They create benefits that extend beyond individual women and their house. We have seen this such as women have been developing their programs through these communities they form of the development loans, such as they are able to develop up to develop up the financial communal projects that help them to develop on their community program. We are placing the strategy that the loans that should to encourage this that the loans should be issued with a genuine payment period and relatively low loan interest. And this will help to encourage our programs, to empower our programs so that the women are empowered. And we are doing this, we are going to promote economic development, the emancipation of women, because we are giving them a long time in which they are going to pay back their loans. We are also giving them relatively low interest as they're returning back to loans. This will also promote their development. We are doing this. This is a side strategy to encourage and empower the status quo because we have seen it. We have seen that these existing programs have promoted development in our country. Yes, we still acknowledge that there is the existence of this granting of unconditional cash grants, but we have seen that it is experienced in very few parts of Uganda. This means that their development is low, and we are seeing that status quo is being exercised in very many parts of Uganda. This means that they incur economic development. Very many women have gained economic development through the status quo. Look at how the government is gaining back its funds, the accountability of its funds, and such
Thank you,
and
Speaker.
in such
Your
a
time
way.
is out.
I risked my case.
Okay, we shall now switch into cross-examination. We are going to do the same that we have been doing to enable us have an interesting session. So it's just a mute and mute thing to allow you hear the other and probably respond to them clearly. Cross-examination is now open.
Okay, I would like to confirm if I'm audible.
Yes, you are audible.
Thank you. So, first question. Do the community development loan schemes, are they like more inclined to make money or they are more inclined to help the people?
Of course, to develop people, such as you have seen the existing status quo, the yoga and the PDM, how they have developed the people in the country.
Your speech that the money that is going to be made is going to actually just keep on accumulating, and they can't accumulate that without like making profits,
I
right?
mean, the money is going to keep on accumulating for other development programs, such that the government may invest it in other areas for the same programs of the loan programs and introducing other development programs like these ones that you are experiencing, the Emyoga and the PDM.
Therefore, doesn't it mean that they need to put a higher interest rate so as to make more money in terms of profits, so as to accumulate it more?
No, why a higher interest? Even if they put low interest, they will still gain these funds to
Thank
be
you,
used.
Speaker. Cross examination time is done. So I'd like to welcome the second affirmative speaker to extend their case whenever you're ready.
Am I audible?
Sure thing you are.
Okay. Now, it's important to understand what the stakeholders in this debate look like and actually aim at. Now, if you're to say you're going to look at giving out loans, meaning you're looking at your stakeholders as banks and other, let's say, other financial lending institutions like maybe microfinance and all that. All those are profit oriented. They want profits back to their businesses. Now, if you're looking at helping out the weak, vulnerable people, these people actually more so the women. These people at the end of the day, if you're looking at giving them loans, it means they have to pay back profits to their bank. So uh meaning their profitability is actually going to reduce. Then when you add on things like taxation and all that, it then makes little sense because development is actually going to be slow compared to when you give out grants. With a grant, people actually going to spend this money and then start getting more sort of income coming in, and then they can set up other ventures. They can reinvest in other ventures. And actually we have sort of development. Now, if you're to look at um, simple aspects. First, actually, if we are to continue on stakeholders, if you're to look at families and society, they look at stable household income and stability. Now, these are things that PDM, Emyoga, and all those that they're presenting have actually failed to attain. Look at financial exclusion of women under PDM and probably Emyoga and all that. You actually realize that when this money is actually sent, it is sent to a larger community. So in that sort of large community, people can actually sort of embezzle the money and even sort of seeking accountability and all that is limited. But now, when we give out money or when we give out grants to individual women, accessibility is actually more easier because we are going to look out, did this woman get money? Did the other one look money? Did the other one get money? And we can easily do more sort of accountability. Now we are going on financial inclusion. Loans reach out to women that have been excluded. Women are often excluded simply because they have probably less land, less collateral security to get loans and all that. Now, at the end of the day, with the kind of concept that we bring in as affirmative, we think these women are actually going to get money and be able to sustain their families. And if you're to look at the multiplier effect, they employ more people because they got grants, started up a farm, a piggery project, which has actually expanded and can now accommodate more people. You're looking at things like sustainability. A woman can invest in a grant. A woman that has invested in something like livestock, trading, or a small business can have a continued source of income. Now, in that side of the house, as negative case, as negative, they can't argue for sustainability simply because they are creating a debt. Now, when you're creating a debt, it means the business can later on sort of collapse simply because it has failed to pay the debt for this, or otherwise you're actually limiting sort of development that would actually happen. We have more sort of steady, fast development in our side of the house simply because people actually getting money and they're continuously investing it. Things like paying loans actually not there. And we also look at economic empowerment and involvement. Women control financial resources, and when they control sort of financial resources in our households, we then have sort of economic development since people are being employed and all that. Now, development comes in that later on we are going to have a change in the quality of life that people live. It means probably they can now extend electricity to their homes. Now, when they extend electricity, we then get money from that sort of tax. When they sell goods, we sort of get all that taxes coming in, and that is more. When we look access at a poverty reduction, grants are very capital without necessarily adding debt. Now, people in people that actually need this money are people that are
Thank
actually
you,
very
Speaker.
poor.
Your
Or
time is
people that
up.
are poor. They actually need, yes.
Thank you, Speaker. Your time is up. We shall now go into cross-examination. Same technique to allow us to listen to ourselves. Cross-examination is now open.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, our dear farmer. You have talked of the less accountability. Why do you say that there is limited accountability with loans, and yet the recipient is requested to present the correct?
Well, even at times where collateral is presented, can actually take over the collateral. Now, when you take over the collateral, what kind of
Okay, so
concept are you
thank you
doing?
so much.
Because you're discouraging people from getting loans.
Thank you
Accountability
so much.
is in the concept that you can easily trace who has actually gotten the money.
Thank you so much. Don't you think that the women may use this money anyhow because it is easily accessible, as you have said, without
I don't
accountability?
think I don't think so, given the kind of status they live in. They want money to develop their kind of livelihoods. They want access to money and economic
Thank you.
independence.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. In case the person or the recipient runs away with this money, don't you think that the government will make loss of these funds because there is no accountability and there is
I
no
think I
observation?
think
Thank you, speakers. Time for cross-examination is up. That has been a very, very good cross-examination. We are able to listen to each other. Let's now go in and listen in from the second affirmative speaker, opposition speaker.
Thank you very much, Judge. Several Joel from the negative team. Once more, I emphasize that we stand against this resolution. We agree with the affirmers that cash grants are easy to access, but they do not create continuous financial support. Whereas community development loans are sustainable, uh, let me give an example. When loans are given out and repaid back, the initial money accumulates, making it able to help more people. According to a sample study done by the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, over 200 financial facilities and community circles have provided long-term financial assistance without registering any significant default. This proves that loans are the most viable option for the rural women, as it will not only give a short relief, but a long-term reliable assistance. The farmers have gone on telling us that these financial institutions create what we call like high interest, so that they are objected at making profit. No, they just only put a small, actually something very little, a small interest, just enough to make this money recycle to help more people. Two, community development loans promote productive investment and long-term income generation. This is because loans create incentive for the beneficiaries to think about how to use this money in activities that can return back this money. This money refunded is used to pay back and also to expand enterprises. Based on a financial report from the research done by MIT, proved that over 70% of grant beneficiaries use money irrational, and loans have been a stepping stone for 82% of wealthy people in the world. Therefore, this proves that community loans promote productivity than grants. Community development loans create benefits that extend beyond individual women. as the farmers have well actually presented it to us, that even grants are very selective even to the ladies. But with the negators, we say community development loans promote benefit that actually is beyond an individual level through financing community projects and shared resources, which provide jobs, including services to each and everyone, including the rural women themselves. According to the social development report on worldfinance.com, community development have largely led to community development by providing jobs and services to community. Therefore, as the negators, we suggest that loans create broader benefit and impact than cash grants. And to lay well with this strategy for ours, we have given ways and model. We are going to present our strategy. Number one, we are going to offer these loans with relatively low interests. This interest is just to make this money recycle and to able to help more people, not to make actually profits, but to be reliable and to be continuous. What I mean, not giving a short time relief, but to give a longer term reliable financial assistance. Two, we are going actually to issue out these loans with genuine payment period that actually can allow someone to pay this money back. As we say, loans are not burden, but they are reliable and offer long-term financial assistance than a grant. Just imagine a grant, the money actually that is given to you, whereby there's no anything actually will motivate you to have financial discipline. But a loan is something actually given to you that you know you have actually to pay back with actually
Thank you,
relatively good
Speaker, for
interest.
that wonderful speech. The
A
time is
relative
up.
rest my case.
You can now cross into cross-examination.
Chair, am I
It's now
audible?
open. Yes, you are audible.
Okay, Chair, one thing you have to understand is this is not a policy motion, but anyways, let's get into it. First question, negative. Do you agree that rural women are structurally disadvantaged? Uh, can you hear the question?
Not
Do
all,
you agree? Do you
not
agree
all
rural
of them.
women? Wow, okay.
Not of
Uh,
not all of them.
do you admit that businesses in rural areas, based on the characterization that you did not refute that I set up, that businesses are more riskier to start up, and businesses don't usually meet their birthdays? Do you agree to that?
I don't agree.
Okay, but you didn't even repeat. Okay, so do you acknowledge the fact that in rural areas, people who are going to give the loans are going to be like the banks and those circles?
I don't agree.
They're not going to be the one to give the loans. Wow. Um, so you want to look at a scenario whereby these people are they're given the loans, then they fail to pay the loans, or because their businesses fail up. Do you think then it will encourage more women to go ahead and take that loan?
It will encourage them because these people actually are given genuine period time to pay this money, and the
But
interest on
remember,
that money is
it's a
very low.
bank. Let's be rational. You pick 500,000 from a
Thank you,
circle,
Speaker.
and you have to pay it in 6 months.
Cross-examination is done. Let's listen in from the last government speaker to sum up this entire debate.
Okay, I'll begin my speech in 3, 2, 1. Chair, I think one thing that is very important for us to understand in this debate is the nature in which this debate exists. Now, what opposition does is that it just comes and lays its arguments with its impact, but doesn't provide a necessary attachment to show how those impacts actually come about, or the necessary value that we need to accrue to those necessary impacts that they are providing. And that's what we do best on our side with the characterization that we provide for you in the first speech that they do not come to refute at any one point in time. What did Henry say? Henry clearly explained to you the nature of these rural areas, right? Henry told you that these areas actually depend on things like agriculture, right? and agriculture, we very well know that it's largely dependent on natural factors in terms of provision of the water supply to actually make sure that the crops grow well. Now, what does that mean? It means that in terms of those times when there's actually unfavorable conditions in these areas, it means that there's going to be less output in terms of productivity for these people who are actually going to get those loans in terms of the side for opposition, right? What does that mean? It means that if they are to get those loans, it means they're going to actually be like having no benefit coming from that actual money that they're going to pay. That is if even they can actually get the funds because they have no source of that income, right? What does that mean for them? It means that these circles and these cooperatives are going to use very strict measures and punitive measures to actually take these people things of that sort, right? Now this is where Henry again comes and tells you the nature of these women, right? We show you that the nature of these women, they are largely risk averse. What does that mean? It means two things. One, that they are less likely to take on interest loans or things or loans like that in cases where they know they are not actually going to benefit profit from them. But also two, shows that they are looking more towards the developmental strategies that will actually enable their families to thrive and provide them with the necessary services and things of that sort to help them survive, right? Now, from that, we then show you that it is less likely for them to actually go ahead and survive with their loans, right? That is why we actually prioritize that they actually be given the actual money itself, right? Why is this so? We show you that because of this risk averse nature of these women, it means that they're going to be able to take care of this money in the best way possible. Questions of financial literacy cannot come into this debate. Why? Because we clearly characterize for the nature of these women, right? Because of this risk averse nature, it implies into them that they need to use this money for more developmental strategies than to the other side that they come and claim that they're going to use it negligently and things of that sort, meaning that argument cannot count or run in this debate, right? But even if we take them on their case, on the best case, right, that they have the financial literacy on their side, look at the cost at which it comes out on their side, right? They're saying that because of their loans, they're going to have this risk, this financial literacy. But look at the interest rates of these loans, right? We clearly showed you that these interest loans are going to be high. Why? Because these people are more likely to want to make profits, right? And you cannot make profits when you're charging low interest rates, especially in a rural area where there are low income earners who have barely any money to actually provide you with the necessary income you want to accumulate. So in order for you to accumulate high income or to accumulate the necessary money you're going to use, you actually need to have these high interest rates in place. And what does that mean? It means that these people are actually going to be fuming because they cannot actually afford these high interest rate loans, meaning they won't go for them at the end of the day. But even if they go for them and you're going to front for your financial literacy and all that, look at the expense at which it comes with. It comes with things like for them suffering, living low standards of living because they want to save up for the loans that are going to come afford, that are not actually going to develop these people at the end of the day, compared to our side that actually develops these people without causing them to suffer at any expense. Now, in terms of providing the women with the necessary ability to actually survive and to promote development in the rural areas, we best show you that we win that on our side. Why? Because we show you that on the inclusivity, we have a much larger spectrum of people who are going to actually engage in this kind of thing. Why? Because the women themselves are going to be benefiting from this. And when they benefit, they put in place strategies, things like, building a bigger crop farm and
Thank you,
things of that
speaker,
sort to
for
help
that
the people in the area
substantive
survive.
speech.
That helps the people survive more and compared to the side
Thank you,
of the team
speaker. Your time
opposition.
is up.
Thank you.
Let's have the last opposition speaker to sum up this entire debate. Whenever you're ready, yeah.
Thank you, our dear judge. This is Ankunda Catherine from the Negators as the third speaker. So the farmers that are saying that the that these the loans are going to be gotten from the circles, but on a rural area level we are having circles. And they already told you, our second speaker already told you, financial facilities and community circles have provided long-term financial assistance without registering significant defaults. This proves that the loans are the most valuable option. Now, when you tell me that that we are going to be getting the loans are always in these modern areas, for example, the town, cities, and stuff. But have you ever found any bank in a certain village? Because we are talking about rural areas. And another thing, we clashed on the point of accountability, and you're like loans have low accountability. See, since the people You said some point there, but I want to inform you that the loans are more accountable than the grants, because these grants will be given to people. You're not sure whether those women are going to use that money profitably. You're not sure, but the loans give that person. When you give people grants, they will become reluctant, thinking that's their own money. They will use it just for their own stuff that will not even bring more profits or benefits to them. But the loans, they will know they have to pay back that money. So they have to do something profitable for them to earn back that money and the interest for the development, that sustainable development, and of which when this money is brought back to, maybe I'm going to use an example of Ranyamahembe Sacco or Kashon Farmers Sacco, when they bring back that money with the interest, other farmers will come in the same community. Other farmers will come, even the male farmers will come and borrow the money and use it, hence promoting their what agricultural produces, and which will lead to development of the community. So when you talk about grants, you're going to develop one person, because your grant will be given to just to a woman, but the loans are available for each and every person. There is no like these loans are for this gender. No, it is communal. Anyone can go and grab it. And then I would like to say this debate goes to us. We win this debate because we gave out three arguments, but you people only rebutted one about the productivity and accountability. Yeah, we talked about the loans are sustainable and that the benefits extend beyond individuals. And we rebutted all your arguments. So I think this debate actually is won by us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, speakers. We can, I think, turn off our videos. That marks the end of this debate. It's been an interesting one. We shall just start off our oral adjudication in the next 1 minute. Let me just do something small here, then we can start. Yes. All right. So let me confirm if I'm still audible. Am I still audible? Would someone confirm if I'm still audible?
You're audible.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that.
You're audible.
So I'm just going to start off with general feedback. After general feedback, I'll just go into what has transpired in the round. After that, I'll give my call and justify the call. Actually, I'll first justify the call, then by the time I finish justifying the call, we should have realized who has taken over this debate and who, to some extent, lacked out a little, much as all of us were probably very good debaters. So first things first, in terms of motion understanding, the motion. Oh, sorry for that. Sorry for that. Sorry for that. So first things first, in terms of motion understanding, this was a value motion. This house, oh, sorry, it was a policy motion.